Hello my lovely students, I welcome you all again to our channel Learn 24. So we have already started with the female's reproductive system. We have covered about the ovaries, we talked about a lot of accessory ducts involved, and then we talked about the accessory glands. Now what is left? We have to talk about the mammalian gland and also the external genitalia, right? So in this video we will be discussing those. So let's just start with the mammalian glands itself. So talking about this mammalian gland, this particular structure, this structure is the characteristic of a female mammals only. Okay, so this structure can be seen only in case of female mammals. Okay, so here this structure will not be seen in case of males. Okay, so remember by that this mammalian gland is a characteristic feature which can only be seen in case of female mammals. Talking about what and all it consists of, mammalian gland basically consists of glandular tissue and some variable amount of fats. Okay, so talking about this glandular tissue, each of this glandular tissue has 15 to 20 mammalian lobes. Okay, so the glandular tissue is basically divided into 15 to 20 mammalian lobes, and these lobes consist of a clusters of cell which is called as alveoli. Okay, so I hope this much information is cleared with you. That is, the mammalian gland is a characteristic feature which can only be seen in case of female mammals, and the mammalian gland, it consists of glandular tissue and also a variable amount of fat. Okay, talking about this glandular tissue, this glandular tissue is basically divided into 15 to 20 mammalian lobes, and those lobes contains what? A cluster of cell. These cells are called as alveoli. Okay, so this cell has a magic potion within it, you may can call it as, right? Okay, so this particular cell basically has the ability to secrete milk. Okay, and if you are asking, if you are thinking that where exactly is this milk being produced, so this milk are being stored in the alveoli cavities itself. Okay, so the cells of alveoli basically stores milk which is basically being stored in the alveoli cavities itself. Okay, so this particular alveoli, it further opens to mammalian tubule, which further joins to mammalian duct, and which finally joins to a wider part which is the mammalian ampulla, and this ampulla is connecting to the lactiferous duct from where the milk is sucked out. Okay, so that is the alveoli opens through mammalian tubule. This tubule joins the mammalian duct. This duct again opens to a mammalian ampulla, and this connect to a lactiferous duct from where the milk is being sucked out. Okay, so this is the easiest method that you can understand this continuous flow, right? The flow chart, it's really easy to understand. Even when you are making notes, make sure to not write down each and every process in the form of a flow chart. Okay, so this is the structure of mammalian gland, a sectional view of mammalian gland. Okay, so here you can see the mammalian lobe, and then it moves on and goes through mammalian duct. Then here you can see the ampulla, and finally it reaches the lactiferous duct from where the milk is being sucked out. Okay, and here you can see adipose tissue. Adipose tissue is nothing but the fat. So like I said, the mammalian gland consists of glandular layer, which basically consists of a cluster of cell, which is nothing but the alveoli, here you can see, and also it contains a variable amount of fat. Here you can see the entire this area consists of fat. Okay, so this is the structure or the sectional view of the mammalian gland itself. Now talking about the next part, that is the external genitalia. The female reproductive system consists of 5 external genitalia, right? And those are mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, hymen and clitoris. Okay, so female's external genitalia, it consists of 5 things, and those 5 things are mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, hymen and clitoris. Now you may be wondering what exactly does it looks like, right? So that we'll be discussing in coming seconds. That is, this is the vagina, here you can see, and this is the clitoris. Here you can see the labia minora, and here you can see the labia majora. Okay, so let's just talk about each and every one of them one by one. Talking about the first external genitalia, which is mons pubis. Mons pubis is basically a cushion of fatty tissues. Okay, so mons pubis is a cushion of fatty tissues, and this basically is covered with skin and also pubic hair. Okay, so the mons pubis is basically made up of a cushion of fatty tissues, and this is covered with the skin and some pubic hairs. Okay, talking about the next structure, that is labia minora. Labia minora is again a pair of fold tissues. Okay, so these are also tissue which are in pair, and these structure are again folded. Okay, next is labia majora. Labia majora is basically a fleshy fold of tissues which basically surrounds the vaginal opening. So here you can see the labia majora. It is basically a fleshy tissue which is surrounding the vagina itself. Okay, so we have already covered about mons pubis, we have talked about labia minora, and we have talked about labia majora. Talking about the next external genitalia, which is the hymen. So hymen is a thin membrane. Okay, so hymen is a thin mucous membrane. It's a very thin layer. Okay, so hymen is a thin layer which basically covers the vagina's orifice, that is the vaginal opening. Okay, so the hymen covers the vaginal opening, that is nothing but the vaginal orifice. Okay, so hymen is a thin mucous membrane and it covers the vaginal opening. Okay, now talking about hymen itself, the hymen can be torn during the first coitus, but in some women it won't be torn also even after undergoing coitus. Okay, so in some cases the hymen can be torn during the first coitus, but it may be present even after coitus in some women also. Okay, so there are 2 possibilities. One where it can be torn during the first coitus, the second one where it may not be torn during the first coitus in some women. Okay, so apart from that, this hymen can also be torn or stretched out during many rigorous activities, or if a woman is using a vaginal tampon. Okay, so during a rigorous activity, if a woman is doing a rigorous activities, during that time also this hymen can be torn, or if a woman is using tampons or any other things for it. Okay, so it's a really important point that it may be torn during many other activities also, right? So that is why its presence or absence, that is the hymen's presence or absence, does not define a woman's virginity or sexual experiences. Okay, so it's a really big misconception that the hymen can be torn. Okay, so hymen is a really thin membrane. It may be torn during many rigorous activities, but sometimes it won't be torn also. So it's a really misconcepted thought that this hymen can be broken only during the process of coitus itself, right? So this question might be coming on your exams also. So many times I have seen case based questions coming out of this particular topic. Okay, so the hymen, its presence or absence is not an accurate indicator of a woman's virginity or any sort of sexual experiences. Okay, it's a really important point. Okay, moving on towards clitoris, that is the last external genitalia. Clitoris is a tiny finger-like structure. Okay, so it is the finger-like structure which covers the vagina itself, and it basically lies at the upper junction of the two labia minora. Okay, so it is basically present above the labia minora, that is above the urethral opening. Okay, so clitoris is a finger-like structure which basically covers the upper junction of two labia minora and specifically the urethral opening itself. Okay, so in this video we have talked about the accessory gland, and then we moved on, that is the mammalian gland, and also we have discussed various external genitalia which we can see in case of females reproductive system. Alright, now with that we have finished the reproductive system. Okay, now we have to move on and talk about the process of gametogenesis. So we'll be discussing that process in our coming video. So I'll see you there. Until then, bye bye and take care.